Hi, this is Tamara from mooglyblog.com, and in this video I'd like to show you the very basics of Tunisian crochet. Tunisian crochet is typically done with a Tunisian crochet hook, which I have here in my hands. As you can see, it's got a regular crochet hook end, but then it's quite a bit longer than a standard crochet hook, and it's straight and smooth, kind of like a knitting needle, usually with a stopper at one end. This one that I have here is equivalent to a J, a US size 10. That's a 6mm hook. Now, not everybody has one of these. If you want to try Tunisian and you don't want to invest in a Tunisian crochet hook right away, it would help if you had something like this. This is my bamboo hook, but you can see even though it's a standard crochet hook, it's short and it doesn't have a stopper on the end, it's got the smooth straight barrel. If you want to try it with a regular crochet hook, you can do that too, but you'll want to make something really narrow so that it doesn't go into the grip to mess up your tension. So let's get started. I'm going to show you something very narrow here that you could make on a regular crochet hook or on a straight crochet hook that you might have, or on a Tunisian crochet hook if you have one laying around. You start Tunisian crochet just as you would start any other crochet hook, by chaining. Since we want to make it nice and narrow, let's just chain 6. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see, if you're familiar with my videos, I normally hold my crochet hook like this. With the longer hook, for some reason, I'm more comfortable holding it like this, but you should hold it however is comfortable for you. So I've got my chain of 6, and just like when you work a single crochet, you're going to skip the stitch closest to the hook and work into the second stitch. You can do that in the top, you can do it in the back loop only, you can do it in the back, however you would normally work into the chain. I happen to like working into that back hump. So I will put the hook under that loop, yarn over, pull through, and I'm going to stop there. I've got 2 loops on the hook, and I'm going to leave both those loops on the hook and go to the next chain. I'll put the hook under the next loop, yarn over, and pull up a loop. I've got 3 loops on the hook, and again, I'm just going to leave that loop right on the hook. You can see too, I'm keeping these stitches nice and loose so that the hook can move through there. That's important. I'm also using worsted weight yarn and a J hook, which is a little bit larger than you'd usually use with worsted weight, but that helps a lot too, to keep things nice and loose. With Tunisian, it helps to use a little bit larger hook than you normally would. So I'm going to keep going, inserting my hook and pulling up a loop on every chain, but not working any of those loops off the hook yet. Kind of like broomstick lace, if you're familiar with that, there's a forward pass and a return pass for Tunisian. So that was the forward pass. I have picked up a loop from each one of those chains, other than that first one that we skipped, and I'm going to count that last one that was on the hook. When we chained 6 and there was 1 working loop left still on the hook, that actually counts as one of our stitches. So now we've got 6 chains, made 6 loops on the hook. So now it's time to start our return pass. To do that, I'm going to yarn over and essentially pull through the first loop, kind of like a chain 1. Then I'm going to start working off the loops 2 at a time. So I'll yarn over, pull through 2, 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 yarn over, pull through the last 2. Those 2 rows, or the forward pass and the return pass, that is what's called the foundation rows. Almost every Tunisian stitch, and there are several, but almost every one is going to start, every stitch pattern is going to start with those 2 rows. So now I'm going to show you the Tunisian simple stitch. Now, just as before, this loop that's on our hook, you can see it's kind of above the rows we just made there. That's our first stitch for the forward pass. So we don't chain 1 here. We chained 1 at the end here before our return pass, but we don't chain 1 at the beginning. So to start the simple stitch, I'm going to insert my hook under the first, not the one here at the end, because that's that loop, but under this next vertical upright piece of yarn here. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Okay, so you see the next one right there. that little upright piece of yarn, the vertical loop. I'm going to insert my hook, yarn over, and pull up another loop. And that's how we're working the Tunisian simple stitch. You just go under that vertical loop, yarn over, pull up a loop. And this is the forward pass, so we're leaving all those loops on the hook. Now, we've got 5, so we've got 1 more to go. Now, at this point, a lot of instructions will tell you just work under that front loop, just like you did before, and that's fine. Other instructions, however, will tell you to go under that one and under the one right behind it. So you're kind of going under 2 for that last stitch. It's a little different. And pull up a loop. And that can look quite nice too, because it gives you an end that's kind of similar to the beginning there, where you've got 2 loops on the side, because you've got 2 loops on this side, just the way the stitch is formed. So I like to do it that way, but you should do it however is comfortable for you. It doesn't really matter. We've still got 6 loops on the hook. It's important, especially when you're learning to keep counting, so that you make sure you're not losing a stitch anywhere. So for the return pass, we chain 1, and then just as before, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and twice more. And that's your first row then of the Tunisian simple stitch. You can see there's quite a bit of space still in there, and that's good. That's what lets us get that hook back in there easily for the next row. So let's make 1 more row. I've got the first loop of the row already on the hook, so I can do that second upright vertical stitch there, pull up a loop, go into the next one, yarn over and pull up a loop, next one, yarn over and pull up a loop, next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, and that's 5, so we've got 1 more. So instead of just going under that 1, we'll go under the 2 at the end there. So it kind of pulls it forward a little bit. Yarn over, pull through both of those, and we've got our 6 loops again. And you can see that those vertical rows, the vertical loops are sort of lining up. So let's work 1 more return pass. We're going to pull through the first one, kind of like a chain 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, 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 and yarn over and pull through the last 2. Now, as I'm sure you've noticed with this return, forward and return passes, there's no turning of the actual fabric. So this is what the front looks like. Let me show you the back. Those of you who are familiar with knitting might think of this as kind of the back of a stockinette stitch almost, and that's what it looks like to me, although of course it's a little bit different. But you can see it's got a very different look here in back. Lots of horizontal loops on the back side. So here we've got something that's about an inch, inch and a half wide here. If I were to keep going, I could go ahead and make a bookmark or a bracelet using this technique and just these 6 stitches. And I would suggest you do something like that to practice the stitch. And again, that's narrow enough that you can do it on something like this, or possibly even a metal or aluminum crochet hook. So let's keep going. I'm going to now show you how to bind off. This was obviously be a very tiny piece, but the bind off is begun on the forward pass. So here we've got just the 1 loop on the hook. And I'm going to keep this one a little bit tighter than I normally would, because I know I'm not going to be coming back through it again. So that one you can kind of snug up on the hook a little bit. So just as before, I go into that second vertical loop, yarn over and pull through, but I'm going to do a slip stitch and pull it right on through that first loop. So this is a slip stitch bind off. There's many different ways to bind off in Tunisian. This is probably the simplest and easiest. Goes nicely with the simple stitch. So go under the next vertical loop, yarn over, and since it's a slip stitch, just pull it right through both loops. Go into the next vertical loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. So you can see, if you know how to slip stitch this, which if you're trying Tunisian you probably do, this is not too hard at all. So we're here on the last one, so I'll go ahead and go under both those loops there at the end, and yarn over and pull through. And then at this point, obviously I could cut my yarn and weave in my ends. If I'd made it longer, like I say, it would be a nice little bookmark, or I could put the ends together, kind of sew them together for a bracelet. But you can see this bind off gives a nice V, and it closes up the holes in the top row. And since we went into the back humps, we've got those nice V's at the bottom, as well as sets of V's on the right, and because we went under both loops on the left. So that's really all there is to getting started with a Tunisian foundation row and Tunisian simple stitch and a slip stitch bind off. Thanks for watching.